How's everyone doing? Cole, Laura, how are you? How are you? Chris is literally waiting till the last minute to plug everything in, and actually the monitor
Don't
wasn't
tell
even
me it's just
plugged in.
me.
Run around, turn lights on, and there you can see she's not in the frame, and there it is. Makes her entrance.
Hey,
Hey, Deb, Laura,
but I made it.
how's everyone doing? John McGinnis, how are you? Long time, John McGinnis. Veronica, how's everyone doing? Sunday night. Woohoo. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Gotta drink my water. Doctor's orders. When you get old, doctors tell you a lot of stuff. And in my case, they tell me my kidneys are bad or getting not bad, getting bad. So I need to drink more water. So there they are. As you can see, someone hasn't the caffeine hasn't kicked in yet, so it isn't.
Not yet.
So I will, of course, will have to carry things for at least 10, 15 minutes.
Thank you.
As
Takes
usual.
the pressure off.
Not like there's ever any. Hey, Nikki, how are you? So somebody asked a question about the, God, what show was that? It was a movie that Steve Gonzalez made, a documentary. I haven't watched that yet. So,
Really? I didn't even know that.
Speaking of Steve, I pronounce his name wrong. I was actually watching something with him where he pronounced his name, and he pronounced his name Steve Gonzalez. The S isn't there. So all these years I've been pronouncing it wrong, which people pronounce my name wrong all the time. You spell my name Rugggiero. It's really, you pronounce it Johnson. Oh, kidding. I knew she would.
That was messed up.
No, some people say Ruggiero, which is completely wrong. It's Ruggiero. 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 Not Ruggiero. There's not I-O. Anyway, hello, Diana. So speaking of Steve Gonzalez, hopefully I'm saying that right, we are going to finally release the tickets for August 3rd with Steve at the Sterling Hill Mine. Right after this ends, I will post the ad that I've been working on. August 3rd, Steve will be there doing book signing, meet and greet. I'm sure some kind of lecture, Q&A, and then the ghost hunt. So
nice.
This is we don't do this often, the house in between. Yes. We don't do this often, but this is like a real premium event because Steve is very well known in the paranormal field. Everybody loves and watches ghost hunters, through the years. So this one's going to cost a little more because Steve is traveling to do the event. He's going to be with us for, a good chunk of time. So Friday night. It's not Friday night. It's a Saturday. Did I say Friday? It's a Saturday night. Whatever that Saturday in August. I think it's August 3rd. I look at my phone again. But I think it's August 3rd. But anyway, so Steve, it starts at 6. It ends at midnight. Tickets for that one are going to be a little steeper than normal. They're going to be $130 a person. But again, with that, Steve will be doing a book signing. He'll be doing a meet and greet. He'll be doing a lecture / Q&A. And like I said, he'll be joining us, everyone, for the ghost hunt, which if you know the Sterling Hill Mine, it's pretty active. And I'm curious to see what his reaction is going to be to the mine being there. The first time we were talking to John Zaffis about his event in the mine, and John is saying how so many people are telling him,
reaching out to him,
telling him that the mine is active and he's really going to enjoy it. So having Stevie there, I mean, Steve's been at the expo for probably 3-4 years now, the New Jersey Power Unity Expo. Steve came, we booked him by himself the first year, and then the ghost hunters were there every year after. But this is the first time we're doing something with Steve, and I'm really looking forward to it. Steve's just a genuine good guy.
And just so y'all know, John's been working for a few years to get Steve to do an event here and especially at the mine. So to actually have made that happen, I think is pretty phenomenal in itself. So kudos to you.
Hey, Thank you,
You're very
Chris.
welcome.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I'd
you
like to
do.
congratulate you on working on.
You.
Wait a minute. Give me a minute.
Yes. Don't break a blood vessel.
Tomorrow night I'll have something for sure. But
you see how nice I am to him? Do you see why hey?
John is busy. John is
say more?
Busy with New Jersey paranormal stuff. Always booked the guest for April 30th.
Yep.
Who was that guest, by the way?
No clue.
There you go. That's the guest again. Near-death experience, but her story about being a medium is not much more interesting, but that's.
No, he's getting old, Luann, not fresh.
She doesn't have an action figure. She got a pity figure.
She's got it. That's what you call it.
We call it a pity figure.
That's what you call it.
When you beg for something and someone's like, here, God, stop.
Never begged a soul for anything.
I do that with her.
Oh, no, that's not true.
With her cat. When her cat's pawing at me and scratching at me and like trying to attack me, I'm like, here's a tuna snack. Now leave me alone. Same thing. Only with Chris and the action figure. So it happens.
I beg for God's mercy all the time. That's what I beg for.
Wish it goes, Steve. No, Steve is awesome. He really is a good guy. And meeting him, hey, Christopher, meeting him at Power Unity all those years ago and now seeing him every year, she'll tell you, Steve is the first one. He's a hunter. You get a big hug.
Just a really good guy.
How you doing? Looks you in the eye. How is everything? And he's just genuine. You know what I mean? And you could see why those guys were as good as they were for as long as they were, because
Dave's the same way.
That's what I mean. We've met all of them, and they're good people.
Just good guys.
Well, Sherry, same thing.
Yeah,
good people.
You take them outside of the paranormal, they're and you just like them because they're genuine.
The ego's not there at all.
No, none. They're gracious. They're funny. I like it.
But yeah, it's like I said, it's going to be one of the events we're doing with him. The only one. She's right. I've been trying for at least 2 years, and every time the dates don't work out. Yeah. And the dates almost didn't work out this time until Tango won't do an interview. I reached out to him. He won't do it. But finally, we had a date, and that date got messed up. And then I pitched another date, and it was like, oh, God, here we go again. And he was like, okay, that works. So August 3rd. So again, if you're interested, of course, you know the routine. New Jersey Paranormal, you have to spell out New Jersey Paranormal at yahoo.com. Send the request. I'll post the ad after this.
Yeah, he's giving you guys the first option. So that's the cool thing that he's going on here and he's talking about it. So you're going in 2 weeks. Go ahead.
But I'm going to release the ad, and God, I try. I really do. I really do.
Try harder.
I really, really do. It's almost.
I'll get you a trophy at the end of the year. How's that?
Take it. You take it.
Take what?
Take it from you for a minute, please.
No, but like what I said before, I do. John has worked tirelessly to make it happen for the Steve event, and I am really excited. And behind the scenes too, John has bugged Mr. Zaffis to do an event with us for so long. You guys have no idea. And now it's just like it's becoming a thing where now each time he does a place with us, then John will tell him about another place, and he literally, Zaffis will call him up and say, John, I'm hearing about this mine. I'm hearing about this mine. Tell me about this mine. I'm hearing I shouldn't miss it. I got to come. And John goes, we can make that happen. It's all on you. You can go anywhere, any point, to any of the places that we have. And this year has been it's really taken off.
For John, yeah.
Yeah.
Steve will be the same way. You know, people say stalker, the word stalker, like it's such a bad thing all the time. It's not. It's like, you know, there are words that can be used in a negative
light
them down. And a positive light. You know, sometimes being a stalker works out for you a little bit. You know, they don't show those stories on the news or on documentaries. They don't. You know, they're skewed one direction. But sometimes you stalk a little, and you know, John Zaffis winds up doing 6 events with you in 2 years. Steve Gonzalez comes around. What's next? Zach Bagans will be eventually. I'm going to wear him down. Zach will be
You think so?
at our convention or at our event sooner or later, because either that or I'll be in jail.
John did listen, and this is all. I'm going to put this out there. This is all John. Every year we start out new. John's always saying, "What can I do to bring something new to the people that are attending? What can I bring that they haven't seen? What can I introduce to them?" And I mean, bringing Kalani to the mind was brilliant. It was an amazing time. It was fun. He is such a dive in, do kind of guy. He's willing to try out and experiment. And yeah, I mean, it's just when you get to deal with people like that, it's amazing, because not everybody's like that. Not when some people that come in and they quote unquote do this, they just sit and watch you do. But it's fun and it's interesting when somebody who people know on a larger level comes in and they dive in with you and they're part of it, and you get to see how they interpret and see things. It's, for me, that's a highlight. I love that.
No, Kalani's a good guy. Again, I saw him on TikTok, and then I talked to him 2 or 3 times before he did an event with us. And when he did the event, I was even a bigger fan of his, just as a person and who he is and what he built for himself.
Highly intelligent guy.
Yeah, the younger, the younger people out there are, they're content creators. They're smart. I mean, look at Project Fear. Project Fear is in the UK now, filming. So they know how to do that and make, money off of it and go do things and build content and build bigger audiences. Never really been a thing for me. Maybe if I was 20, 30 years younger, I'd be more. It's just today, for example, on Instagram, there's a way to you can monetize your I can't remember, was it Reels or something like that? And I'm looking at that and I'm like, well, what is this? And I'm clicking on it and I'm going through it and I'm just like, how many people do that and use that and on TikTok and everything like that? And I'm like, extra money is always great.
So what, you create content that's a reel and people pay to watch it?
But it's the same thing with YouTube. We're on YouTube right now as well. We could have subscriptions and super chats where people would just pay money for us to read their comments. A lot of people do that now. Or if they're on an investigation, and Kalani's the one who told me about this. No, it was Haunted Nights. If you want me to go, if you want me to go into the basement by myself, super chat me $20 or whatever. And I'm like, I get it. I do. I really get it. But for me, it's like, I'm going in the damn basement anyway. So what do I care? Pay me, don't pay me. I'm going down there.
Would you have the ability to travel like that? I mean, if you
came with me, sure.
But if we had that kind of money to travel, you would like travel like to the extent that they do, like how could they go all over?
Yeah. I mean, we'd have to plan it. But if you were coming, I'd go to all those places. Okay. I'd enjoy it. I'm not sure you would, but I would.
I'm a little long.
We went to I don't know what the name, Madame something or other.
Madame Tussauds.
Yeah, in the city, there's a wax museum, and really cool. There's a whole bunch of celebrities and all that other stuff you can take pictures with. Of course, the famous picture of me is I'm on E.T.'s bike, and I'm digging into what's her name,
Dorothy's
basket to see what's in there. But we go into this one room and it's Annabelle. Oh. Annabelle is sitting in the corner, the fake Annabelle from the movie. And the picture frame's moving on its own and the lights are blinking real fast. And, any little thing that happens.
No, what he's not telling you.
You're talking about what, the chair in the theater?
No, it wasn't the chair. Wasn't that what happened is that before you walk into the Annabelle room, there's a little dark tunnel you go through. And before there's like this subway train in front of you and the red balloon from it is coming out of that, which is no big deal. But when we went around the corner, what I didn't expect was this big steam like sound to go right through right where I was, and I screamed because
This is for kids.
it scared me.
It's so
It's not for kids.
vanilla.
It was not vanilla. It was, even the other two people screamed.
The 5-year-old and the
Wasn't a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
It was a
But anyway,
20-some-year-old girl.
we went there and it was really cool. My daughter's birthday on Saturday, Sarahpalooza. My daughter Sarah, her birthday is like 3 days long, so we call it Sarahpalooza. So we celebrated with her on Saturday, and then yesterday we went to the shore together, and we went to the fun house, which is something we've never done together.
No.
And they have this freaking mirror thing, like a mirror maze thing. I swear to God, I would have been there for 3 hours if it wasn't for her. I kept banging my head and hitting the freaking glass, and I was literally like, if I'd have been there by myself, I'd have called for help. For sure, because I was getting so frustrated. There was these two younger people. They were like late teens, 20s. They're like came in way after we did, and they're coming up on us real quick. And I'm getting panicky, and I'm like feeling. I eventually said to her, "You go. I can't find my way out through this thing."
Yeah,
so I kept
it was just real simple. I mean, I just
do
this thing where I put my hand out and just like did and got right through. It was fun.
It made me crazy. I can't take that.
So. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Actually, I have where John is going down the runway. He does a runway walk that I absolutely get the biggest kick out of, and maybe I'll post it because I enjoyed it. That was myself.
At the wax museum.
Yes, I love.
Everybody was afraid. They have like the wax models, and then they had the runway, and everybody that my daughter, my son-in-law, Chris, nobody was like going on the runway.
Yes, they go do it.
Like, and I'm like, if no one's going to do this, I'm going to do it. So of course I get up there and I walk back and I strut and I stopped. And of course they're videotaping that. And when we went to the fun house,
yeah,
the best part for me was there's all these little butts sticking out of the floor, and when you step on them, they make fart noises. So I did my version of
he's jumping all on them.
Big, where you play the piano, and I was jumping on each one of them, making them make noises. I know if you're watching now, suspecting paranormal stuff.
No, we haven't
might
got
want
there
to
yet.
wait 5-10 minutes and come back because we're talking about the fart things in the fun house for now. We'll get back to the paranormal stuff for sure.
It's just sometimes it's just so fun to go do something you normally wouldn't do.
The wax thing was in the city in New York near Times Square.
Yeah.
The fun house was at
the shore.
Point Pleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
I bring you over to the UK and take you to very.
Oh, we would love that, Colette.
I'd love to go to some of these old buildings and do these investigations again. I do miss doing more investigations. I mean, I do find myself, just like I said, even during the week, like we have an event this Saturday at Centenary University coming up, and they're going to open up a couple of different areas for us that they haven't opened up before. The libraries, mostly where the maintenance man saw a full body apparition there and it freaked him out and he ran out of the building. And then another science building or whatever where people have heard the dean says there's stuff there. So they're going to open that up for us. So we're going to be in different areas, which I like. I like being in different spots and doing different things. So yeah, I do get the Jones for going out and investigating, even if it's like I said, just going somewhere I've been before, because you can be somewhere, 2-3 times a year and you still enjoy being in there and doing these things. Like even the other night I was sitting there and I'm thinking, we have access to places where I could text people and say, hey, I want to come in there and I want to do something. I want to try something different. And
you did that at Camp Evans when I was away.
Well, I was like, just the other night, I'm like, man, I'm bored. Maybe I'll go over to the Paranormal Center and just ask if we could go in there for 2-3 hours and just, run some of the newer equipment and just to go in and do it. Especially now that I know the Paranormal Center in particular, that one particular room has great EVPs. I'd like to go in there and do more. Maybe with just us or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I did have a great time doing that. I do enjoy being out there investigating, and I enjoy doing it with other people as well, which is why, this time of the year is tough because all of our events are from 8 to 12. And that means we usually get there at 6 and we don't leave till around 1.
Right.
And, that's a long night, man. Then you don't get home and you shower and you go to bed and you go to sleep by 12:30, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And then the whole next day you're dead. And I really, if you were at the Liberty Hall event that we just did, Nikki, you were there. Nikki, I actually hurt myself in front of Nikki and Joy and who was ever in that group.
Yeah.
I was holding the SLS. I turned the wrong way, and every single thing in me felt like it wasn't a pop, but it was kind of like a muscle pull strain. It went from my chest down my side all the way down my leg, and it hurt a lot. I mean, a lot. And I was going to stop. If we had enough people to back me up, I definitely would have tapped out right then and there. But I kept going on. But she'll tell you from Sunday on, I've been popping gabapentin. I've been on heating pads.
Oh, Nikki said the horse kicked you twice in the stable.
That's what we were talking about. What they were saying that they think happened because we were mapping the horse. So they think I got kicked by the SLS horse. But I was really hurt. I mean, really hurt. And when I got home, she'll tell you, I mean, I was in bad shape. So,
you've been pretty, yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of like one of those things now. Like, I'm feeling better now. My leg feels better. And I'm going to go back to Centenary University and mess my body up again. I've done that with my back. It does. I don't know what I did. I just twisted the wrong way. Part of the joy of getting older. But, like I said, I want to go to different places. I want to do some investigations, more stuff where we go out together and we just revisit some of the old places or go into some. It was our first time I heard John whine. Thank you, Nikki. Appreciate that. Nikki wonders why she winds up in cages during my groups. Now you know, Nikki. I'm going to copy and paste that, and I'm going to show it to you next time I put you in a cage. Can't wait to see you guys next weekend at the university.
Can't wait either.
Centenary is awesome. I love that place. I particularly like the cathedral and the theater, but the theater's not going to be available to us. But again, one of those old buildings where there's so many places that have these stories of paranormal activity. I mean, we're still on the fence about the German.
You're young yet, Colette.
The German, what's it called again? Social club.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still on the fence about whether we're going to go in there and do an investigation or not, because we don't want any issues with the people that are members of that club, and we don't want any issues for the person who's bringing us in. So it's like, we got to kind of figure that one out. What is that? Elephant stepped on. I don't know. You couldn't even see that.
Somebody said that about it.
So anyway,
this year.
But yeah, we're going to go back out and do some different things. I didn't have it with me. Have what? What are we talking about?
What were you said that's how you get stuck in the cage? Oh, she didn't have the holy water. Is that it?
We preach now. Here's the new thing you're going to see. If you come to an event with us, and it's right to do this because just for people's well-being and mental health.
Yep.
So you watching, I know you, I see you, you and you and you. If you're watching, get your pad. Here's another one. I'm going to throw to you. Get ready.
60s are the new 30s, ladies.
Get ready. You got it? Got a pad? Get ready? Okay, good. So what we do now before our events is, and everybody will be doing this next week and the week after, what we do is you have to, and after many, many years of doing this, you think I would have learned before now, but whatever. When you do what we do and you take people into buildings and you're openly trying to communicate with spirits in different ways, doing different things, and this more so came out of something that we did at Camp Evans that was new with mirrors, and it kind of got all of us talking, and I basically said, you know what, from now on, if Nikki's not around with her super soaker of holy water, we need to figure out a way to, make sure people feel like they're protected.
Yes.
and have the ability to do that before they go into any building or any area in particular. So before you wander out with us and do the whatever ghost hunting, we encourage everyone to protect themselves in
Set your
whichever way
intentions.
works best for them. And I think that's just good practice. For me, there is no way. I don't do anything. I just start the machine and I go. But for others,
And that's because you want to be open to everything and anything.
yeah, but there are others who, might not want to participate in certain things, or B, might not want to be around certain things that are going on because they feel like just being in the area could open them up to whatever.
I always set my intentions.
So I think it's just good practice to do that going forward. If you're coming to our event, you're going to hear us say that, because in the future, we're going to be doing other things. I don't want to say what they are because they watch everything that happens.
New experimentation.
There will be something new that we're doing that will make people want to protect themselves. I know that sounds really weird and cryptic, but we want to go out there, man. What I enjoy, people make fun of Ghost Adventures all you want. And believe me, I'm watching house calls and I'm not loving it at all, because I'm even talking to the TV going, come on, man. Come on, man. But in the old days, Ghost Adventures would do a lot of different things in different places that were really experimental. They may not have worked all the time, but at least they were really kind of, I don't even want to say fringe. Fringe isn't the best word. It's outside the norm, I guess, for certain cultures and certain beliefs, the things that they were doing. Maybe we should have, that's not our responsibility to bring magic rocks, Nikki. If you need a magic rock to protect you, then yes, by all means, bring enough magic rocks for everyone and pass them around. Me, not so much, but sure. If that's what you feel works for you and you got your magic rocks and you feel protected, by all means, bring them.
But some people feel that way.
Magic rocks, I know.
I was actually given special stones for when I was having so much problems with walking there for a while, that I now keep in my bedside drawer that are supposed to have healing properties.
How's that doing for you? Yeah, exactly.
When I had them and I carried them in my pocket, it's I mean, again, I understand science behind things, and was it psychosomatic, but it seemed to alleviate and help. And then
what you're doing subliminally, again, and this is my perspective only. There should be a message that scrolls across whenever I say that. What you're doing is basically what you just said. You're setting your intention without knowing it. You have these magic rocks in your pocket, and your belief in the magic rocks and that nothing will attach to you. The
mind is a powerful thing.
You're setting your mind and you're preparing your body, saying, nope,
yes,
no way, no how. And you feel safe and secure because you got your magic rocks, and you think that they're now have a magic shield around you, which very well may be the case.
You wear magic rocks right on your wrist.
Yeah, but I wear these because I'm superstitious. It's like wearing the same. How many times you see me buy new sneakers? I like my sneakers. I wear the same sneakers.
But did your superstition? Was it your superstition that introduced you wearing that to begin with, or
James Doherty was the one who said these may help you and protect you from negativity? And at the time, there was a lot of negative crap going on.
Okay, and what happened?
What do you mean what happened? You think all my negativity went away? Okay, I have no negativity in my life now. Look at me. Wow. Look at this. No negativity for, what's the calendar say?
You'd have a rock on you for the negativity.
4,000 days and counting. I have my negativity calendar. I mean, come on.
Okay, reel it in. What I was saying is, so from that, you developed a superstition. If you take it off, what? Bad comes?
I'm superstitious in that if I didn't wear this tomorrow and something bad happened tomorrow, I would attribute it to not wearing it.
Okay. So somewhere down
I do that with my belt. I feel the same way about my belt is torn to shreds. Yet I really have superstition to where if I don't wear my belt tomorrow and tomorrow was a bad day, guess what? I put that damn belt back on again and wear it until it fell off of me.
I know this about you. Won't watch a football game of your team.
I have anxiety.
Yeah.
I initially wore it's the
sorry.
freaking, oh my, tell me you didn't just witness that. Tell me you didn't as well. It literally is the bulb behind me. I had to mess with it a little. This is a ghost hunter, ladies and gentlemen. This is a ghost hunter.
I'm not a ghost hunter. I'm not.
You see it in all
Not.
its glory.
I do not. And everybody who comes to our events knows how I am.
I missed that comment there. Let me scroll up there because I missed one.
About your magic rocks.
So you wear magic rocks. You are a believer. No, not at all, Nikki. Not. I am
He attributes a different name to it. That's it.
I am a superstitious nut. I really am when it comes to if things are good and I break the pattern and it goes bad, I feel like it's very hard to get back into that pattern.
He used to wear the cross necklace and things started being really bad and he attributed it to, hi Brian, he attributed it to the cross. So he took it off. So
John, did you see the demon in the corner when the lights went like that? Did you?
But anyways, I went out and I bought him a really nice one, a nice, beautiful cross, and he actually liked it. Go ahead.
Oh my God. Do you see it? The light flickered and now there's a demon. There. Oh my.
Right there. So I bought him this really nice cross with a chain and everything. And he wore it one time and something bad happened and all that money on just gone.
But yeah, I mean, that's something totally different than magic rocks. I think it's a belief thing. I get it. That's why we said. I mean, look, we have Colleen in the room now. She's a witch, and her beliefs are way different than mine.
And they're very specific
with a lot of things. I mean, we asked her to kind of gray the waters, the colors a little bit there because I don't believe you can go too much one side or the other. I think you can kind of find a place in the middle, to do things safely. And but I also think to experiment and openly communicate with spirits if they're around us, you got to try some different things to find what the best method might be. Short of, I'm not an animal person. I would never sacrifice an animal for anything ever in my life. And if someone told me that was the best way to offer the gods or whatever, I gotta get rid of that one.
I can't.
I don't know if I can either. Is that YouTube or is that?
It's got to be because it's not on my thing.
So animals are a no-go, but I am willing to experiment with lots of different things.
Nikki basically says you're a contradiction.
Nikki.
Because you're
I think Nikki's drinking the whole
thing. No, you are so dead on.
I think that's vodka.
Because you don't believe in the magic rocks, but you wear the magic rocks, and your superstition is you can't take it off because if something happens, it's because of the magic rocks. So somewhere there's a trigger.
No different. I have a leather band as well that I used to wear all the time. It was leather. It was one of the fatter, I like them. I like the way they're stylish, the way they look. And bad shit happened to me over 2 days when I put that thing back on. It's sitting in my room. I have this stand that holds all my things like this, and I won't ever wear that again. It has nothing to do with it. I look at this as a bracelet, and that's it. A fashion accessory, if you will.
So you said no animal sacrifices. I'm hoping that also means no human.
It may be a little bit obsessive compulsive. I'm sure I got a little bit of the OCD.
Oh, he does.
A little bit.
100%.
I mean, nothing wrong with that.
No.
That's what makes me Funka Expo. If I didn't, believe me, nothing would get done.
When
I say
so
nothing, I mean
of donkey do.
Nothing.
And
nothing.
People who know the truth know the truth.
Yes.
That's a bunch of.
I know the truth.
That is such a pile of poo.
Okay. What would get done with New Jersey Paranormal?
Well, according to you, nothing.
I'm asking. You brought it up. You said it was a clump of poo.
You said
I said both. I'll say so. No New Jersey Paranormal we got in my column.
I am the same way,
I'm
John.
saying we got. If I watch a bad week, I wear. Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, I'm very superstitious. I am.
He is.
I always have been.
He is big time.
But like I said, doing this event with Steve, we you know we're gonna have the buildings at the mine that we usually use. The office, the mine. The mine is big enough to where there's lots of space in the mine. The museum. We're going to use, and Steve will be in all those sections, and he will be making the circuit around and doing different things with different people. And he could lead his own group, whatever he wants to do. That's how we throw it open to the people that are with us. John Zapp is a great example of that. John's a guy who's just like, brings his Echo Box with him and away he goes. Kalani, with me, was doing EVP sessions the entire time within that group, and again, I enjoy that as much as the people attending because I get to participating in it as well, and
he's so willing to jump in and do any of the experiments too.
And like I said, if you bring your book, if you bought his book, I'm sure he's going to talk about the book. I'm sure I'll have the book for sale. I'm sure he'll sign the book, and you can take pictures with him and, like I said, do a Q&A and whatever questions you want to know about. I know Jay is doing the YouTube thing now. Steve and Dave aren't really a part of that yet, or Shari. You can ask him all that stuff and get the scoop on that if you like. But that's what I'm looking forward to. It was one of those, when we finally got it hashed out and I knew it, I kept it in my pocket for a while because I knew we had other events leading up to that event. But that's the one that I've really been looking forward to since I'm trying to do something with that, and I'm really trying to do something around Halloween. I can't believe I'm talking about Halloween already, but it's like the year's going by so fast. I'm trying to do something for Halloween week at, I think it's Centenary. We'll be there again, but I'm trying to do something for that weekend as well. That's pretty special. Don't know what, I don't know with who, but I'm working on that because that's my favorite time of year. So December, I don't know what we're doing in December. I don't know if the whole Hoover thing will still happen again. We don't know what's going on with that.
We haven't gotten into that
so
far.
We're just kind of concentrating on up till August. That's where we are, and that's where we're going to be for a while. So interviews, I'm trying to book more interviews. Hello from Paris, Missouri.
Yes.
Oui.
And
I know that's not Paris. Definitely can't get enough for Halloween. I'm the same way. I'm a Halloween person.
I still got your coffin.
Love. What does that even mean?
She knows. It's good.
Oh, again, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt your conversation with the one person? Again, I apologize. Go ahead.
But we can talk about Liberty Hall too.
Sure. Go ahead.
Because something really, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because something very unique that I've never experienced or saw experience with one of the people that participated was we separated.
We didn't talk about Liberty Hall?
No.
Oh, we had the interview with what's her name?
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. We should.
Linda was awesome, by the way.
So you want to kick off with yours because I think it's really cool the fact that you
that I got hurt. You think that's funny to talk about?
No, the fact that you actually mapped a horse.
Well, you were starting, so.
Well, anyways, I'll go back to the thing that I was going to say. I was up on the floor where Captain John and Mary Ellis's rooms are, and also their son Stuart, who was a bit of a ladies' man, quite the charmer and loved the ladies. And for whatever reason, Captain John finds me annoying or doesn't like me in his space. I mean, he works great when communicates with John. It's got to be the John thing. So I respect that. And so I stayed out of his room and I went down to Stuart's and I went into another room that we'd not been in before. And I put these lights down in front of everybody. And I basically said to Stuart, if there's anybody here that you would like me to send out to be alone, light up whatever in front of them. And the light lit up in front of this really pretty blonde woman. And I said, well, let me make sure we got this right. Can you? And it lit up in front of this one girl again. So her husband said, I guess you got to go up and do it. So she did. And then the husband was asking questions, and he was saying, and I had a speaker hooked up to the system so we could hear what was going on up there. And the husband said, uh, first they came back with it said, he goes, she's taken. He goes, I have her. A male voice came from upstairs where this girl was by herself. I have her. And then he said, she's married and taken. And another male voice comes through, the same one, and goes, obviously. So there was like this banter going back and forth, and he wouldn't speak to anybody else in the room that asked questions. It was just the husband, and it was going back and forth. This male, whoever responded, we were assuming it was Stuart, so we just kept going online. And then she came back down when her time was over, and she walked in. And this is where the unique thing that I've never seen happen. She has no idea what we got and what was said to us. She comes down, and her husband goes, "So what was it like?" She goes, "It was really eerie." She goes, I felt like somebody was there. And she goes, then all of a sudden, it got real cold right here on my mouth, like ice cold. I think Stuart made a pass at her. And the husband was just like, whoa, that's crossing the line. He was just like, but that was like the whole big thing was like, she'd had no clue what was happening. And she came down and she said, right here, right at her lips was ice cold. It became, and she felt that somebody was right there. Have you ever heard of something that specific?
No.
I'm like, so I had to have been Stuart.
Yeah. What's weird about what we do is there are times, because you can't plan for what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. It's just whatever it is,
Yeah.
And there are times where you're in a building and you think it's going to be like the greatest night you've ever had because you bring your first group down there, or you're down there and you start. And my first group, there was 6 people in the group and we got like 5 EVPs, all from a female. And I was like, wow, whoever this is, I haven't been in that area of the carriage house in a while. I said, whoever this is really talking and they want to communicate. So we usually go around all different areas, in the carriage house. We never left that area with the first group because there was so much happening, and I had the whole building. And so the next group comes, and I'm like, hey, we were just talking to this female, whatever. And then from there, it kind of, like plateaus, and it's so weird because, in theory, there's this person there, and they're there, and they're listening, and they're engaging with a specific group of people for whatever reason, and what happens if that's why it's so frustrating not knowing what happens is like when that is over and that group of people leaves and another group of people come, does the spirit who's there, do they just go like, all right, well, and then
Guess
leave?
left him, yeah. I was talking to you and then you moved
are
on.
they like, okay, we're gonna do this again, type of thing? You just don't know. Whereas like I said, there are nights where it is like peaks and valleys and group's energy has something, believe me.
It does.
And that I'm not talking about the Liberty Hall thing. I'm just talking about events in general and ghost hunts in general, even with us. If there's an issue between even the 4 of us, 5 of us, 6 of us, whatever, and we bring that into a building, it has an effect on the environment.
It does.
In a good way or a bad way. And a bad way is, you could draw out the negativity from whatever's negative there, if there is something negative.
Or you can chase whatever away because you're negative.
Or, you're bickering and you're just the vibe you're giving off could just make it so like you're just unapproachable. Just like people. Yeah. I mean, they are people. That's why I say that. So if I walk into a room and, she's over there and she's
got my stink face on,
and she's looking around and she's, saying some stuff here and there and just being snarky, a word I hate, by the way.
Snarky is the word.
I'm not going to approach that person. I'm probably not even going to go near that person. I'm going to just stay away. But if you see people, again, good mood, engaging, good vibes, maybe you'll approach and, hey, what's going on here? And that was kind of like, you see that in events, which is why, it's interesting what people's energy bring to every area that you go to. And you wonder why, the big mystery, of course, is, are they stuck there? Why are they there? Why would they come back to a place, especially servants and slaves? Why would they come back to a place where, maybe they had good days, I guess, some days with the families, but for the most part, they were forced to be there. That was their life. But it just any place in particular, you just sit there and you, again, you as a student of the paranormal and researcher, is like you wonder why that energy affects different areas in different ways at different times. What we noticed after COVID was really, really unique. And again, we all went through COVID. It was what it was.
Yeah.
It was bad. We lost people. It was a scary time, the lockdown. But what we found after COVID was when we had been into these buildings again, after them being shut down for a year or two, it was like walking on fresh snow with no footprints in them anymore. We were the first ones in there, and boy, oh boy, did they know it. Every building we had been in during that time, whether it was during the lockdown or after the lockdown, was really super active.
And it seemed to be that there were different, for back of a letter word, characters
Back
that
of a letter
appeared.
For back of a letter word.
Lack of a better word.
Gotcha.
Okay. And I'm just like a little speech impediment there. But it seemed different characters were coming out of the woodwork that we hadn't ever come across before either.
Well, I just think, the different characters here and there, that was at a few buildings, but I really do think
they miss the interaction.
It's like some do, some don't. It's, again, these are people. You wonder if they, in some cases, with some of these buildings, like there's some buildings that we go to once a year or twice a year.
Yep.
And Inskeep is a perfect example of that. And the Van Horn, twice a year. That's the only time that people are coming in there doing what we're doing, engaging and trying to communicate with the spirits. And I think the Van Horn was pretty good for me the last time. I think in some cases, if there are spirits there who are active and like the company, you're going to make them happy and they're going to want to engage and they're going to talk on EVP and they're going to do whatever. But if they're not happy and they don't want to be left alone in their building and in their area, you're going to get the opposite. You're going to get negative stuff.
Yeah.
And again, I find that fascinating because it was, again, you wish every event, every investigation could be boom, knocking, in the park and poltergeist activity and things are flying around and everyone's enjoying it and having a great time. But there are times where there's nothing. We've been in buildings where we literally went from floor to floor, room to room, and it was like fishing. You're like, put your line in, you're trying, and guess what?
Didn't want nothing to do with us.
No. And you go to the next one, and you go to the next one, you go to the next one, and you hope for some interaction. And like, what really surprised me was there's I can't say where, because it's a private owned thing. There's a farmhouse in a certain town in New Jersey, really, really old. This thing, horror movie written all over it. The woman died of hospice in the building. Her husband was murdered or committed suicide outside in the field. When the first few times we went in that building, very active. I mean, really, really active.
Angry active.
Curse words on EVP. Really, really cool. An intimidating building. And anyone who tried to live there over the years got chased out. They couldn't stay there because they would see these apparitions.
And this is like a mini mansion kind of thing back in a big old farm.
Big mansion.
And it was just room upon room upon room. You could get lost in this place. It's so big. And the one guy told us that that had worked there that he had a family of 4 and they were all sleeping in the living room because they were terrified. Yeah. And he worked the property, and that was the whole thing, that you got free living room. And he said they lasted a month, if that, and then they had to get out. They just couldn't do it.
So we went in there the last time. It was me, Tanya, and Kenny, and there was nothing.
Really?
No one wanted to engage with us in that building. They just wanted to be left alone, and that's a big, big building. And we tried to cover as much of it as we can. We went to the quote unquote hot spots, which was the attic and this one particular area where she passed, where there's the piano. Um, and
No.
you wonder,
Huh.
like, what happened? You know, do they eventually kind of?
Well, the time period from when we investigated to the time period you investigated with Tanya and Kenny, how long was that? Was it a couple of years?
I don't
A
even know,
year?
but I'm just saying, like, what could have happened? Did they not want to engage anymore, or were those spirits not there anymore? Did they go somewhere else? Did they quote unquote cross over? Like, what happened? You know what I mean?
I didn't
That's
have a
the big
choice not to
mystery. Is
engage.
you walk in, and even some of these other buildings, like these famous ones, where people think they know the spirit who occupies it. Um, those spirits, if they're there all the time, are they willing to talk all the time and engage all the time? You know, they ghosted me. Yes, true. It was really bizarre because that was one of the places I think we did do it live, and we had Wi-Fi problems up the wazoo, but we felt really good about going in there live and what was going to happen, and we were surprised as we were going. Like, all right, let's try here now. Let's try there now. Spirits come and go. Again, I don't know that to be true, Nikki. My ideal version of the afterlife is that spirits can go to wherever we're supposed to go and come back and back and forth and back and forth. But I think in some cases, for whatever reason, I do think that there are spirits that are occupy places for centuries. I really do. And I can't explain why. Are they stuck? I don't know if there's such a thing as being stuck. I think they're stuck without knowing they're stuck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they really
Or
are
do you think they
stuck.
don't want to move on?
No, I don't think that I think there's something, I don't know if they're aware of everything that transpired, but I think that for whatever reason, they're comfortable. Maybe they don't want to go. Maybe they are confused. I don't know why that would be the case anywhere. I mean, like, take Liberty Hall, for example. Liberty Hall was generations of families. So good memories, great memories. Children were born, family gatherings, big parties, um, generation after generation living there and dying there. So that you can understand the protective Captain
And the
John.
generations of the grandkids and stuff coming there and get married there still to this day. They all
Yeah.
come back to the grounds. So that in itself is I think is another thing that keeps tying, is like where you have these people that the place becomes a museum, and the family's like, because the oldest son, Mr. Kane, is still alive. He's in his 90s, correct? 80s, 90s, and they have family members that they're not living there or anything, but yet they travel from different states and stuff just to they have their family functions on the grounds and stuff, and they still stay tied to that area in itself. So I think that right there kind of helps, right? When you think about family members that are coming in and they're not there all the time, you live there, like Captain John, Mary Ellis, and the different ones that have passed on, that maybe that's their opportunity to connect with them there.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think even it's the same with like a traumatic event, um, somebody dying in a building, whether it's natural or unnatural, a tragedy. Gettysburg. Why is Gettysburg so haunted? You know, if if life worked the way that we all hope it does, and we die and we go somewhere and we're in whatever with all of our loved ones, there are probably tens of thousands or thousands of spirits that exist in and around that battlefield. Everyone knows it. It's been kind of proven over and over and over again. And you wonder, um, is the energy split? I mean, is it all residual? Are these just embedded in the land from the blood and the trauma and the memories and the emotion? Or are those spirits still there?
So like a scar.
hundreds and hundreds of years later. You know what I mean? Like, this is what it's so fascinating to really think about. Gettysburg is haunted. Okay, how and why? Why, we know. Tragedy,
Right.
murder, mutilation, horrible surgeries, brutal battles. But again, if I'm a young 25-year-old soldier with a wife and a kid and family, and they're on the other side, my parents or whatever, and now I'm past, well, I'm still there. Why aren't I
with them?
But why aren't I somewhere else?
Yeah.
Anywhere else? If there isn't anywhere else, why?
Why would I perpetually be in the same situation where it wasn't a nice place to be and where I died so horrifically? Why would this be my ending point to stay there?
Is it, like I said, Grant Wilson had the best explanation for all of that stuff when he talked about the whole transition process and how it works. The thing that made the most sense to me ever was what he described to me. And it is a long transition process that that happens afterwards. That a big part of the afterlife, according to Grant, is the acceptance of who you were as a person, the things that you did, the things that happened. It Call it a life review, whatever you want to call it, but it's a big part of what happens next is how you deal with and handle that part when it comes to you. If you're in denial about being dead, or if you're taken suddenly, that may get you caught in the loop, according to Grant, because you're having such a hard time wrapping your brain around the fact that you are gone and the physical life is over, and now you're somewhere else doing that. You get caught in a loop. And again, according to him, as long as you're in that loop, you could be earthbound because you haven't gotten out of the loop and gone whatever up and out.
Right.
You're caught in that, and that loop can last 5 minutes, 500 years, all depending on your soul or you being ready to accept all your wrong deeds, all your faults, having passed, you know what I mean? All of those things and processing them, coming to terms with them.
But isn't that like almost kind of like the belief of judgment?
I said the review.
Yeah.
But here's the weird part of that. In every near-death experience that I've either watched on YouTube or Netflix or anywhere else, when they describe passing, whether it's on the operating table, whether it's drowning, whether it's any of those things, Steve Barry said the same thing. At first, what you're surrounded by is a feeling of just love, and nothing kind of matters. You know what I mean? It's just, you feel love, all your worry, all your angst, all that just goes away, and you're in. How do you get from that feeling to now being like Beetlejuice in an area where the life review is happening? You know what I mean? This is what I mean. That's so, and I can't, because we're going to talk to someone on the 30th who has a near-death experience, actually two of them. And I have so many questions when it comes to this stuff that it's just like, I want to know from their perspective of, okay, you say you felt this afterwards, great, no, but again, what caused you to come? And in most cases, it's somebody telling them, you got to go back. You got to go back. Right. Now, does that you got to go back happen before the review? So the review never happens if.
Obviously, it can't, right?
Well, my mom always said to me since the time I was little, because I'd have these discussions with my mom about how does a 7-year-old die in a car wreck, yet a guy lives to 92 years old. How does that even happen? You know? And my mom would always say to me, again, my mom obviously believed in fate. My mom said, when it's your time, you're going to go. She preached that to me from the time I was old enough to understand to the time she passed. When it's your time, you're going to go. Now, I believe that because I wouldn't call them near death experiences, but I was in two horrific car wrecks to where if you saw either of the cars that I was in, you'd have said, that guy's dead. That guy is dead. There's no way. But I do feel like my mom said, wasn't my time. If it was my time, people have died in wrecks that were a lot less severe than mine. I got hit head on with a car that was speeding that literally I never even got a chance to hit the brakes. He just wham hit me and my car spun around and blood coming out of my head. And I went off the road and I wound up stopping the car. Another time I flipped over a convertible. I was hydroplaning. Either one of those times I could have punched my ticket, but it just wasn't meant to be yet. It wasn't my time, according to my mom. So like I said, there's so much that factors into that, but I didn't lose consciousness. I never died and came back. So, I mean, I never experienced any of that, but it is an interesting thought and a concept.
Do you believe that when they talk about a spirit being stuck or us bringing, do you think that there is any way that something can keep something here against their will?
Something, meaning like
whatever. Do you think that spirits can be kept here by someone or something else?
I would say no, but I don't know if that's not possible or not. A dominant spirit keeping other spirits from crossing over, like in the movies. Is that what you're talking about?
Something like that. I mean, I believe that, like, again, love and connections to people that are very powerful and very strong. I do have a belief thing that if I were to pass tomorrow and say I knew that my daughter would have a really hard time with that it would be very hard for me to move on until I knew that she was okay.
Yeah, that's
that type of being kept here by someone I could see, because we actually experienced that with our friends, with the father, that he stayed around to make sure she was okay. And it took quite a few years.
That's understandable, though, because again, you wonder if, again, there was everybody knows that story about the I don't know if he was a neurosurgeon or a neurologist. He passed. He went somewhere, said it was beautiful, described the colors and all that other stuff. Came back after several minutes, and of course they said, blah blah blah. It was your brain reacting to the trauma, whatever. And he pointed out in a book that all the parts of his brains that would have triggered those illusions or delusions, none of them were active during when he was dead.
Okay.
None of the neurons, none of those areas.
So he put science behind it.
Yeah, and he said all of these things that would have caused those delusions and those visions, all those parts of my brains were dormant and dead during that time period.
Right.
So it's not scientifically logical for me to have seen those things. It had to be something else. And now he's a big believer and wrote a book and everything. So it's interesting. So that'll lead us up to, like I said, April 30th. She will talk about her near-death experiences. I know about them, but I'm more intrigued by her life experiences and what has led her to be a medium. Because here's the thing about mediums. The legit ones that I've met in my life, and I'm talking about, what's her name? The detective, psychic detective. I can't remember. Nancy Weber, right?
Yep.
Nancy Weber, Connie Ellick, Jane Doherty, Judy Kay, these ones that I know that I've experienced things that I can't explain. Trauma is a big, big part of every medium. Whether
it's almost like it's the key to unlock something that you're not tapped into.
Yeah, it's really, really strange how that works. And this medium in particular, I know has several of those life experiences that led her down that path.
I hear you, Dad.
I thought I could stop my husband from crossing over by begging him to say, that's an interesting question too. If it was selfish enough for you to Um, if you had any influence over spirits crossing over and going away, and you had lost a loved one or a friend, would you stop them from going into the unknown? Because we don't know. We don't know whatever there is. But if you could influence them and have them, quote unquote, haunt a place, your place, their old place, would you be selfish enough to do that? I mean, that's a really interesting question because as people, as humans, now again, I've had many, many dogs in my life. I'm a dog lover. I've dogs are. I love dogs more than people. I mean, there's
I know
just
that.
having a dog is. If you've never had one, then you're missing out in your life. If you had them, you know what I'm talking about. The most, and then this is for pet owners all around, not just dogs, but the most grueling experience you can have is making that decision to end your pet's life when you know, and a loved one as well, because like again, you go through this with people too when they're at the end and you have to decide on hospice or not. But there is no worse position to be put in than to say we're making the decision, I'm making the decision to end that animal or that person's physical existence. I'm making the call. It's not happening naturally. I'm saying do this. And again, maybe it's coming anyway and you're doing the humane thing. It still lays on you that you're the one who said, yes, do this. Um, as part of that, it's the same when it comes to hypothetical. Let's say we all have a choice. You lose someone, husband, wife, child, whatever, and you can now influence whether they take the journey into the unknown because we don't know. None of us know. None of us. Or influence that spirit to stay with you, around you, near you. I think a lot of us, or half of us, would say, yeah, stay at least for as long as you can until I am better equipped, whatever that means, to handle. You're going to suffer the loss anyway, eventually,
So
you know?
basically, ease into it.
But again, is there the choice on the other side of that as well? If you are the one who's passing, is there a choice for you to go or not? That's the other part of the equation. You've reached that plateau of judgment, whatever you want to call it, where
See,
is it even a choice, or does it automatically, like those people being told, not your time, go back?
but here's the thing. We did a case years ago of a woman who lost her father, and she could not move on from his passing. It devastated her, and he haunted that house. We proved it, and certain things that happened that we knew it was her father, and she knew it was her father, and it wasn't till she finally accepted and became okay and started doing better in her life that he finally just went away and he never returned. We're still good friends with her.
Obviously, he had that choice.
And that's what gives me, and that's a choice that if I were to go, that I would like to be there for my daughter to help her. But on the other side of that fence, like with my daughter who passed, I know the pain, depression, and the torment that she suffered here and what she was put through and endured, and I would not want to hold her to that. And you know me, and I've basically, I've said to her, that you can go on to be where you need to be. I don't want you to be here to go through that anymore. In my mind's eye, she's at peace, and that's what I want for her. I wouldn't want to do anything. Selfishly, I'd want her here. I still would like to have her physically here. I would love for her to pop in and say hello and but not at the expense that she would have to deal with any of that stuff again.
It was my choice. I'd go first and think I would recover.
That's hard. I'm with you on that, Deb.
Yeah, that is a tough one. Very tough one. But again, only we could go from talking about being in a fun house and stepping on fart machines to handling the really big questions of what happens when we pass and all that stuff. So that's why people watch us. Very, very versatile. Very versatile. We can laugh at the fart stuff and then
Yeah,
you
talk
can
about
cry
the
at
serious hard
the hard
stuff.
stuff. So that's why you're here, and that's why I have 3 action figures, a T-shirt, and a mug, and this one,
And a potato head.
and a potato head. Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyway, we'll be back Sunday night. We'll probably be back Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, maybe. Not sure what we're doing, but we'll be here. That's it.
Have a good night.
It was an interesting discussion.
It always
all the way around.
We went all the way around the world
We
there.
come on with nothing to talk about, and yet we talk about everything. So it's what we do together.
We do.
Right?
Have a good night. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Please, more than ever, as crazy it is out there, be kind to each other. It makes all the difference in the world. Good night.
Good night.